This is the hardest video I've ever had to make. I've tried to record this video several dozen times and it's literally getting nowhere. The reason is I want this to be a somewhat constructive video, and this mechanic has just tilted me beyond belief that I'm struggling to just not go into a hate rant about this mechanic. Yo, what's up, guys? Joker here, bringing you another video. This is going to be on the Krangled League. I know I said that I was not going to make another video or a video in general on the Krangled League, but I changed my mind because I wanted to go ahead and put my opinion out there as well as suggestions on how this mechanic could be fixed in the future. Because right now, I feel like it's just in an incredibly bad state. Now, before anything else, I wanted to say that I don't want to discredit anyone who's had fun in this or who is competing or who won. I think the race is already over, right? So I think Jungaron won or something. I don't want to discredit anyone from having fun or enjoying this. I just want this to be more of kind of a constructive criticism because it feels like a vast majority of the player base is having similar feelings slash experiences with this league mechanic. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at my character. So my character is a level 35 burning arrow character. It's kind of on hit slash ignite because I saw fire damage, I saw bow damage, and then bow damage with dot. It automatically gave me burning arrow, right? So I'm like LE damage, and then over here there was like a fire dot. So like the burning arrow kind of just made the most sense in my head. And the burning arrow actually went really well. Like I'm low key debating starting burning arrow next league. That's how well it went. So let's start going over my issues with this temporary league, right? Main reason why I want to give my opinion on this is so in the future they can either fix it or know that enough of the player base does not like it that it doesn't take the place of another league mechanic, such as like Endless Delve, right? Endless Delve has always been really good. So, starting off with probably my biggest complaint about this league is going to be the fog of war, right? It's just something that, in my opinion, is pointless. Literally, there is no point for us having to be 1 point away to see the next passive. This league mechanic would be infinitely more fun, in my opinion, if we were just able to see everything. I mean, from like day 3 onward, it's already data mined and we're able to see the entire thing anyways. So there's no real reason for you not to give it to us from day 1. You can't even say that it makes it more competitive because it literally just turns it into a slot machine. There is nothing skill based about not knowing what the next passive point is. There's no skill in that. It's like finding $100 on the floor and saying that that's skill based. So that's the first thing, right? Get rid of the stupid fog of war. There's literally zero reason. No one can convince me otherwise that there's a good reason for this fog of war. Just get rid of the fog of war. The second thing is going to be the difficulty of respecing, right? I know this isn't a voided league, but come on, what are we going to do? Flood the standard economy with regret orbs? Like, there's no detriment to just giving us either way more regret orbs or different recipes or even different vendors for more regrets, right? Like, as an example, give 10 alterations for a regret orb, 15 chromes for a regret orb, that type thing, because the entire point of this temporary league is to play around with the passive tree, no? And it's not like it's going to ruin the standard economy if a few extra thousand regret orbs enter the economy. I mean, that's literally almost nothing compared to what enters the standard economy every league. I mean, or even one better, make it a fucking voided league and then just give us like a million regrets, right? It would not be hard for them to go ahead and change the code from this being 7 portal scrolls for one transmute to 7 portal scrolls for one regret. I guarantee you that's barely one line of code, and I know for a fact that wouldn't fuck up the game at all. Now, for this next thing, I'm actually going to be comparing it to old school RuneScape's upcoming league, Leagues 4, and show a couple of examples from that because I think that GGG can actually take inspiration from this, especially for temporary leagues where majority of them are voided anyways. I think they need to be more lenient on player power and be more willing to let us do outlandish, stupid, fun things like some of the clips I'm going to show. So, by far, the easiest thing that they could do in a 1-to-1 would be not only giving us increased EXP rates, but giving us increased drop rates, right? Obviously, if they implement these, then they should void the league, but majority of the temporary leagues they void anyways, so there's no harm in actually adding an additional benefit. This would be increased drop rates on all of the uniques and all of the currencies. That way, people get to try to learn how to craft. People get to play with a mage blood or a headhunter or even just some random tier 0 uniques that they'd never get the currency to play with in the core game, and it gives them that extra motivation, that extra goal for when the next league actually does start. They have now the motivation of, hey, I want to get that mage blood back, so I'm actually going to grind. Or, hey, I can use all that experience I got in the temporary league and crafting and actually get a really strong start, make a lot of currency early league by crafting. Alongside that, I would want to see the density increased, right? Just like give a passive 100%, 200% pack size. That way, it's something really ARPG like, where you just get to explode giant hordes of mobs and it just rains so much currency and uniques. I feel like that would be a really, really fun temporary league, especially if it is something that is voided. I don't get why GGG wouldn't do that. I mean, that just seems really fun. That's the reason why people play ARPGs, is for the huge loot explosions. And since they've, for whatever reason, haven't given us a loot explosion league in a while, I feel like it would have really good player retention as a temporary league. Up next is something that I think is another really cool concept that I feel like there wouldn't be that hard to actually accomplish. Let me play this little clip and then explain how I feel like it could be transitioned into Path of Exile, right? I'm only going to play like 4 seconds. Right? So as you can tell, he died in a boss fight, but he got rezzed and he insta killed the boss. This is something that I feel like would be really cool in Path of Exile because a lot of people don't actually do the boss fights. They'll sell the invitations because they don't have enough experience in the bosses or they can't kill them. So something else really cool that I think could be implemented into a temporary league would be some kind of guardian angel resurrection effect, right? Let's say that you go into the Maven fight and you die. Instead of the 6 portals, just insta res you, right? Give you pretty much double the chances to learn these boss fights. Because once again, in a voided temporary league, there's no reason why it can't be a fun, helpful learning experience for players because I mean, honestly, I think a lot of people would appreciate that. And that's pretty much going to be the end of this rant video, essentially on my opinions on the Krangled League. Honestly, I'd give it like a 2 out of 10, but I know some people may have had fun with it, so they'd probably rank it probably more of a 4 or 5, but I know they're not ranking it much higher than that. I gave what was wrong, I gave ways to fix it, and I gave some cool ideas for future mini leagues that I feel like would be relatively well received. I mean, how do you guys feel? Do you guys agree with my points? Do you disagree with my points? Do you think the league ideas that I mentioned would be really cool if they implemented that type of thing into a temporary PoE league? I mean, tell me if I'm right or wrong down in the comments. But besides that, until next time, take care.